Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to another Shamshir Sound video. My name is Ali Nadem. In today's video, we're going to be looking at that classic riser that we hear in pretty much a lot of EDM songs, whether it be trance, electro house, big room, G house, you name it. We hear that riser a lot, and it's usually a sample that's being used. But I'm going to show you how you can easily replicate that. And that sound goes a little something like this.
Jason holla, get him, girl. Daddy need new shoes. Daddy need Pirellis to look mean on 22. Stash box, Xbox, laptop, fax machine, phone. Pull the tooth, this bitch, and I'm gone.
So I'm going to be uploading this remix very soon. I got to actually do it before my Monument soft tube synth expires. I'm going to buy that. I love it. I love that bass. If you haven't checked out that review, check it out. It's amazing. This riser, we hear that in a lot of tracks, and it's actually very simple, but I want to give you guys not only the recipe, but I want to show you guys some techniques on how you can also sculpt it and make it fit in the mix. With this guy, I EQ'd it heavily, and it's EQ'd around 300 hertz. But the really important stuff is what's going on with the processing inside of the synth. So for that, we're using massive, not X, of course. So this is just a square wave. And really, it's just a square wave. I make it nice and wide. So we just have one oscillator. It's on 12 right there, all the way to the left for that square. And I'm going to talk about the macros, but let's look at the voicing. It's mono. It's just playing one note. Now, this track is in A sharp minor. So that riser that you create, whether you want to do 8 bars of going up, in this case I went a bit longer, but you'll probably go like 8 bars going upwards, 1 full octave. In this case I'm going 2 octaves, but you could go this amount right here, which goes a little something like this. Now, what I want to show you guys that will help you, and really Bass Jackers comes to mind, because he would talk a lot about how when you build stuff upwards, of course, you lose low-end energy, you gain high-end energy, and sometimes that high-end energy can create a little bit too much energy, such that, think about when you're doing a build-up. Like if you're doing a build-up and there's tons of snares near the end, crisp, high energy, it will take away from the impact of the drop. So we're kind of using that philosophy here. I'm using one knob here. I'm going to mute it. I'm using one knob that says riser 1. And this riser 1, I believe, when we go further onto it, riser 1 is essentially tweaking the high shelf, the low shelf, and the cutoff. So I'm going to go right here when it's going up to the second octave. And we can see riser 1 is creeping up. And what that's doing is that it's telling the reverb to expand, so the reverb is opening up. We're kind of doing what Endless Smile would do. So this is kind of my go-to, is that I'll have a riser build up in pitch. So make sure you guys choose, do you want to do 1 octave? Do you want to do 2 octaves? In this case, I'm doing 2. And during that build up, having a creation of more reverb, going more wet, will allow it to kind of go back in the mix. It's kind of going into the abyss. It's going into that cavern. You create more space. But when you do create more space, when you go up in pitch, it would be a good idea to put that macro also on high shelf. So as we're going up, we're also reducing a little bit of that high shelf. We're reducing a little bit of that low shelf, which, yeah, we might be wondering, well, why we're reducing low shelf? But the low shelf, when we reduce a little bit of that low shelf, it kills a little bit of energy, makes it kind of become thin. Because we want it to like become like, just become thin as it creeps away. And with this, it's really about leveling, getting the level right, getting the EQ right, those little nuances. So we're killing a little bit of the highs, we're killing a little bit of energy, making it more thin as it progresses. We're making it more wide by increasing the wetness. And here I put 2 number 1s because like I wasn't satisfied with just this amount, so I was like, hey, let me just increase it. And of course I could increase this, but you have those options there. And kind of the cherry on top was I did this. I listen with it all the way up like this. This is what I do. and I'll listen to see where it just kicks in, where I can hear that the EQ is making it sound finally a bit different when actually you can hear that having that effect, and then I'll back it off. So I didn't do something like this because that would be too extreme. But instead, this kind of rolls off a bit of that like super high end, such that this riser builds up, but it doesn't like steal the energy or the foreground from the main synth. It's just the background. Coming back to the voicing, I just made it super wide. I wanted to just be massive and not Massive X. And we added a little bit of pitch detune. I find that when I do pitch detune with simple stuff, of course, we're not making a crazy thing here, but simple stuff around 0.25, 0.33, give or take, can give a little bit more extra width, of course. And if you guys want to add a little bit more things to it, maybe you want to add like a chorus or even like a panning might be a good idea, a little bit of subtle pan, and maybe you could increase the pan with that macro one. But I wanted to show you guys that classic square riser and how simple it is to make, but it's really not about just square wave. It's really about what you're doing with it. And with this, there was a lot of leveling to get it to fit right into the mix. And once I got it to how I liked, it sounded nice. And overall, it's giving it that progression. These type of risers give you a little bit of motion and momentum, and they tell the listener that something is coming up, something is coming. There's tension, there's anticipation. And when I do these risers, I feel that I don't need to use Endless Smile. I use Endless Smile a lot on this track. I think I have like Endless Smile probably like on 2 or 3 or 4 things, but it's always situational, guys. So always work on stuff situational. Things will always be different. I never thought I'd be making a 120 BPM track, but hope you guys like it when it comes out. It's thick, it's juicy. So I hope you guys found this video useful. If you liked it, remember to smash that like button. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're alerted of my videos when they are ready, hot, fresh out of that donut oven, you know what I'm saying? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, keep making some dope music, keep making some gains, and I'll see you soon. Take care.